Alright, what is going on, guys? NateGould here. I just made this video, but I kind of got off on a tangent and ended up being like 20 minutes long, so I'm going to try to do it much faster and just spend like a minute on a point. I want to talk about being an in-game leader at the lower level of Counter-Strike. When you're starting a team in the SA Open, or I am, you'll probably even listen to what I'm saying and make it to main. I just see a lot of common mistakes on the different teams I've subbed for, the different teams. Like when I sub for a team, I kind of coach for a team. I sit on their practices, so I know what they're doing. But if I'm sitting there watching their practice, so I know what I have to do, and I see them doing things wrong, I'm gonna say it. So it's kind of like a coach, but not really. Like, because I'm not there every practice, and I'm not going over every demo. But when I am there, I obviously am gonna help my team, and I see a lot of common mistakes. First common mistake is people try to play like pros. They want to look at how Nip plays a map and play like Nip. The problem with that is you don't have Get Right in Forest. You don't have people who can take aim battles, and you don't. The way pro players play is they have their style, like for Nip, which is a loose style with a couple of executes, which rely really just on having amazing aim, setting up themselves for isolated aim battles that they want to take, and having the ability to win them. That is a huge gamble for an open team because you are not consistent and you have not been playing for 10 years. Probably not the best thing to do. So, what would be better is if you listen to a tip video by a Dren that gives you the basics on how to play cash. That's tailored for you. That's a video that a Dren made to help you get better for the level you're at so you can start to build. Perfect. But if you watch a team, if you're like, oh, let's watch to see how Liquid execute this and do their default. Again, you don't know what team you're playing. Team Liquid does. They've watched all the demos. They've played them 1,000 times. They know how they're going to play on the CT and T side. Yeah, they might mix it up. Yeah, they might change things. But they're going to know if they're initially aggressive, if you want to match with aggression, if they're aggressive on CT side, if they fall back, do they have tells of certain things they're going to do based on their setups. You don't know those things about the teams you're playing, so you can't play the way they play. They play their style tailored to who they're playing against, with lots of hours of practice, setup timings, knowing the rotates, and knowing the team. You can't do that, don't try to do it. Sometimes it's good to watch a demo to see how the execute plays out and take a specific execute. As far as defaulting goes, mid-round decisions and CT sides, for the most part, I wouldn't take it from a pro team just because they're going to tailor to a specific team they've played so many times. They know their individual players, how they play, and their mannerisms. So that's the first point. Tip videos from pros are great. Demos might confuse you. You might be trying to do things that are too hard for your skill level. Your players may not be able to fit into how Nip plays a map. Seems kind of realistic. Makes sense. The next thing you want to do as an in-game leader is be descriptive when you're calling. So a lot of open and lower level teams, it's going to be about adapting. Your executes aren't going to come in that much because they're going to probably be getting aggressive. They're going to be changing how they're playing. So say you call a very basic strat of just crisscross smokes mid, right? Split B. Now if you don't say, so you have player 1 through 4, you're player 5. If you don't say player 1 and 2 come out mid, I'll boost player 3 and me and player 4 go B main. What's going to happen is player 1, 2, 3 all love to go B main. They're going to go B main. You're going to boost up the guy mid and you're going to have to walk out mid late by yourself because now you have no one there. Smoke's going to be fading, or these guys are going to regress because they didn't see any aggression towards vents. They're going to retake close mid, and you're going to die. It's going to fumble your whole plan. They're probably going to trade the boost guy. You lose. And it's your own fault because these players don't know where to go. Human nature is the path of least resistance. People are going to go where they want to go unless they're told what to do. And you can't just say, okay, every time we do a B split like this, because it's such a basic strat, player 1 and 2 is going to go, player 3 and 4 is going to go. What if player 1, who normally goes mid-main, has a rifle, and player 4, who normally goes B-main, has a Tech 9? Wouldn't it make sense to switch them so that the Tech 9 can go vents to close checkers, to clear out corners, to running Tech 9, the guy hiding in checkers, and setting up and making space for the rifle to come in and get a pick on sight? Yeah. So you need to be able to look at your money and put your players exactly where you want them. But if you don't do that and they mess it up, it's really your own fault. Because human nature is the path of least resistance. They're going to take what they like to do, where they're the most comfortable and stuff like that. The thing about playing in a team is sometimes you have to do things that make you a little uncomfortable. But every player should be able to go mid on a B split, should go boost on a B split, or go B main on a B split. It's basic CS. They should be able to do that. It's not like you're asking them to anchor A site when they played B for you. That's not the same thing. But you need to be descriptive. You need to say, hey, in the freeze time, before matches, no one talk. Tell them to turn you up in TeamSpeak or Mumble so you're the loudest player they hear. Let them have that time. Make sure you say, hey, 1 and 2 are going to go out. 3 and 4 are going to smoke cross. I'll boost 5, go back mid, or whatever it is. Obviously, you're going to know your own names. So that's the next point, is being descriptive and being detailed on your calls. If you're playing CT side, and they're coming mid a lot, and they're coming A lot, right? So you're like, okay, we're going to give them mid control. We're going to put our op fork, or we're going to put our op quad after he flashes our 2 riflers into A main. We're going to hold A main. We're going to watch mid from here. The B players are going to be back on B site. If you don't tell the B players, hey, your vents is open, your Z's, we'll watch your Z cross. We are not mid. They might not play. They might play close up here with no support or fast rotates and get killed. They may not play back in sight unless you tell them, hey, play retake on B. We're going to try to get aggressive A to get a couple picks since they keep coming there. Hey, op, you're going to flash in me and number 3. Then you're going to go quad and watch here. If you just say, all right, let's just stack towards A and watch, watch mid from A site. They're not going to know that. You need to tell everyone exactly what they're going to do. You need to tell them what's going to be open. Because when you're a new team, they're not going to think about this. When you're a new team and you're trying new things and you're learning new things, they're just thinking about what they're doing. It's hard. They get very tunnel vision. They're not used to this setup, so they don't know what's open. They don't know what's not covered. You got to kind of break it down at first, especially when you're a new team, and scrim it a lot. Because when you're trying to adapt, sometimes new shit's going to come out. You're just going to think of something like, okay, this will totally work. This is innovative. We're going to do a fake and walk A or something like that. And they're not going to be used to it. So you need to make sure you're as detailed as possible. As far as making decisions, you need to make sure you're making the proper decisions. Don't get a playbook of 5 executes and go, all right, number 3, go. Number 5, go. Number 1, go, with no thought process. You need to look at what's going on around you and build. Every round you should have an idea. Okay, as far as from my information, I make a map and I know that there's 2B, 2A, 1 mid. So I'm going to take mid now. Now the next round you go to take mid again. You see that they rotated an A player, not a B player. Now you're going to fake mid, get 2 guys in mid, and do a quick execute. Stuff like that. Your decision making has to go off of the information you get. You can't just pick random executes because then you're just gambling. And we've all gambled skins. Gamblers lose. Don't gamble. Use information and your skill, and use your information with your skill. Make tactics that are going to put everyone in the advantage. You always want to put yourself in the advantage. You always want to play the number games. Do not play based off of aim. Because as soon as you have one more person in open, like Flom's team is winning open, you're going to play teams that are better than you that don't deserve to be in open. So if you want to get out of open, you got to play smart. Even if you have better aim, you always want to play smart. You always want to make sure you're setting yourself up to have the best numbers. You always want to set yourself up for success because you know someone out there with better aim than you, and you're going to play them. So as soon as you start playing those players, and as soon as you get the playoffs even, you're just getting wrecked because that's when all the aimers are coming out, and 2 or 3 nutty aimers can destroy your T half if you're just playing off of your own aim. Another thing you have to do is make sure your team is working together, working at a good pace. If you want a guy peeking squeaky, make sure he has the smoke here. She says, all right, I want to take a peek squeaky. All right, smoke that, flash high, let him peek here, let him peek here. Eliminate things for him. Don't just say, all right, peek 5 angles because you have good aim. That's stupid. You're wasting your good player. You're wasting a life because he's untradeable as it is, and you're setting him up for so many different angles. You know what I mean? So make sure that he doesn't just run out squeaky and go. Say, all right, take your time. Let me assist you. Work with your players. Make sure they're not doing like that. Do not over-execute. You're in open, and all you do is execute. It's the same thing as gambling. You don't have the information to make the right plays. You're not setting up for aggression. As soon as they figure out that all you're doing is executing, they're just going to flank you. They're going to figure out where to flank you, and they're just going to flank the shit out of you every time. Don't ever execute. Have strong defaults, have multiple defaults. Have a default for B control, have a default for A control, have a default for mid control, have a default for picks. Set it up for how you want the round to go, so if you eventually want to go B, but you want to make sure everything else is covered off. Don't just say, all right, we're going B, because they're weak there. Because if you do it that way, you're gonna leave too many gaps for them to flank and ruin your plan. The only thing I really have to say on CT side is you have to be very adaptive. Same thing I was saying before. If you lose mid 3 times in a row and you want to try op and quad and adapt that way, That's great. You want to put one, you know, on cash. You can do a few things if a team's taking mid too easy from you. You can either 1-3-1, two guys close, one guy Z. You can either 1-3-1, one guy boosted vents, two guys back on B and highway. You can do aggression B, you can do aggression A, or you can turtle back sights and op the cross from quad, like I was saying before. So since there's so many different options, you need to figure out which one's going to work the best that you think, but make sure everyone knows the role. These are just common mistakes I see from in-game leaders, and this and the fact that you guys don't command respect. Like, if you make a call and then your best player, your best aimer is like, no, I think we should just rush B. Like, fuck him. He's aim. That's it. You're the brains. They've trusted in you to be the in-game leader. You say, no, fuck you. This is the strat I called. This is what we're doing. Whether you win or lose. Because you'll never learn if the decisions you're making is wrong. You'll never learn to fix your mistakes if no one lets you make the mistakes. You need to make sure your team trusts you. And honestly, the best way to do that, because everyone thinks they're so macho, is just say, no, fuck you. This is what I called. This is what we're going to do. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you do subscribe, I'm going to do more video series just on common mistakes I see in open, things you could work on, and stuff like that. I just think everyone's trying to play like the pros, and they're really setting themselves up for failures. And whenever I've played this way, this kind of style, it seems to work for me. So I thought I would share with you guys. Like I said, like the video, subscribe, because I'll come out with more series, more videos in the series like this that'll hopefully help you guys get out of open and play a little bit better CS. And pretty much that's it. Thanks for watching.